Can you take a skull to the very end of each level in the Halo 2 campaign? Well, the answer is no. And the reason for that is this skull right here, the famine skull. Now, before I get into the nitty gritty on why it's currently not possible, what is Skull Protector? It is a category I've been working on for the past year or so, where you take any skull to the very end of the level. It's as simple as that. Every single level in the Halo 2 campaign is possible. I've done it. Besides this level, the Famine Skull has some issues, and there's a lot of unique things about it that I will be covering in this video. I'm actually making this video as a call for help to see if anyone has any ideas or can help me out with this problem. Anyway, let's go see the problem real quick. So if you're familiar with the level of the Oracle, you'll know that there is a cutscene that forces you inside a Banshee. And when you get into the Banshee while carrying a skull, you will not be able to take it in with you. So what happens is the skull flies up. Past this point, this is the point of the level where it is currently impossible to take the skull to that point in the level. So this is the problem I've been working on for the past year with this category. And I'm gonna just kind of show you what I've tried in kind of the order I tried to show you what I understand about the level and what potential strats that may be used to get this done. To start off, though, the first thing I thought of was, okay, well, you have a Banshee bomb, and I was like, okay, well, most of the time, it does get stuck up here. Sometimes it gets stuck somewhere else. It's pretty rare. I haven't really seen it happen. This is kind of the main spot where it actually gets stuck in. It's like, okay, well, my first idea is to bonk it with the Banshee bomb. If you try that, well, it's not going to really move that far. And there have been times where I've moved it like here or there, but as you also know, in this level, there's a lot of stuff flying in the air, and that accounts for everything, you know, including yourself. And Banshees. So, the next idea I had actually involves a glitch I discovered a while back when I did discover it. And it's what I call skull smuggling. It's where you take a skull inside the vehicle with you. Now to show skull smuggling, I'm going to actually show one of the applications that it is used in this category, which is the Arbiter. If you know, in the Arbiter, the Grunt Birthday Party skull is all the way down here, and you have to make it all the way up there. This was originally one of the levels I thought was going to be the problem level because of this fact, but after I discovered how to take skulls inside of vehicles, this problem is not even a problem. So to do it, I'll explain the inputs first, and then I'll show it. You need for once, you need to have another weapon, which luckily the grunts down here provide you with one. And what you need to do is you need to throw a grenade, swap weapon, grab the skull, enter the vehicle. So left trigger, X, X, X. And I'll make sure to have my input display for this to show it. So you throw a grenade, and you should have the skull with you in the Banshee. And you have to make sure that you do that input when you get the weaponless screen before that timing ends, which I'll show you about the timing you need. It's after you swap the first weapon. So you have that amount of time to do it. So now that we know how to take a skull in a vehicle with you, let's try it on the Oracle. Okay, we're back on the Oracle, And if I were to try to set this up, you would want to do something like this. Put the skull there, say put your weapon right there, throw a grenade, grab the skull, and then maybe you would take it in there? No. It's not gonna work, and there's a little bit of intricacies with it. I'm gonna open up the trigger menu, as you can see here. So even if you had the question of, oh yeah, maybe you just gotta do it before the white screen ends, and then it puts you in there. Well, for one thing, this thing doesn't automatically put you in the Banshee every single time you go in there. There is a trigger that's constantly checking every so often, and you can see it's blinking right now. It may be possible, it may be like frame perfect, you gotta do it like just after it checks, right? I don't know. I've tried it like at least 100 times, maybe even more, I don't know. From what I know, it doesn't work. Okay, so then the next thing you would have to ask is, what if we put the weapons in there first, and then we do the trick outside of that room? Well, if you know before, if you say, I don't know, push the skull over there and it gets into the room. I've done it before. I'm not going to show it because... Not going to show it, like, me attempting to do that because I don't have a checkpoint for it. But, you can go back. You can break the Banshee to go in there. You can go in here. You can put the skull in here. You can put a different weapon in here. However, if you're familiar with this part of this section of the level, even with invulnerability like I have from the elevator launch, you're still gonna die. We're gonna come back to this as a potential strat though later on in the video. I'm gonna move on to the next strat that I thought of. The next potential strat I had thought of was to become weaponless or having one weapon going into the cutscene while carrying the skull. To become weaponless, you're going to need 2 plasma pistols. And in order to have 2 plasma pistols, you have to be able to carry 2 of the same weapons at the same time. So let me show you how that works. So you start dual wielding, have one in your secondary, and you swap the weapon. And now you have 2 of the same weapon. Do it again. So carry another dual wieldable weapon, and then swap to the other weapon you want to carry the same weapon of. Now you have 2 of the same weapon. And in order to become weaponless, you have to overcharge and grab a skull. And now you have 1 weapon, and do it again. Now you have no weapons. Now since how the game works, it always forces you to pick up a secondary or a primary whenever you just have no weapons or 1 weapon. But luckily, the skull also automatically picks up, and you won't be picking up any more weapons after that. So let's just see what happens if we go in here while weaponless. Same thing's gonna happen. Same thing's gonna happen even with 1 weapon. As you can see. We're going to come back to this idea as well, but let's go to another strat. So it's seeming like this Banshee cutscene is causing some problems. So the next idea I actually had was to try to avoid it if possible. To explain more on this, let's go to free cam real quick. Let's go past this section real quick. Now, the trigger for the next part of the level that gets you into a cutscene is right here. If I show it real quick, it is called... Oh, if I can show it here. Oh, there it is. Vol Arm 01 Return. That is the trigger that gets you in here. Now, through clipping out and using cheats to get to this section, this part of the level this trigger it will load when you're in that section. In fact, I will show it. So let's say, theoretically, you're outside the reactor room. I'm playing, and I'm gonna go over there. I'm using Acrophobia right now. And as you can see, the trigger does load. And then you can continue doing this run, which is now 100% possible past this point. Now, getting out is a bit of an issue. To show why it's an issue, if you can see here, once you get to this point of the level, there's no way out besides going to the Banshee section. However, let's think a little differently. What if we were able to hit that trigger from maybe the cable room? Well, let's go there. The box for the trigger, it exists up here. As you can see, the trigger for that cutscene, Vol Arm 01 return, it exists out here. There's no collision here, but it exists. However, let's go over there. We go into this box. We've hit it, but nothing's happening. I had a potential butterfly strat using a flood to go down there. And then I realized, you know what? Let me test if the trigger actually hits before I start doing that. And it doesn't. In order for that trigger to load, you have to go down to 2. I'm unsure what actually triggers that section to load, but it's one of these. It's one of these after you hit the last cable too. Kind of forgot about that. So when you hit the last cable, and you go down there, now it's loaded. I believe it's BSP or Trans 41. It's one of those that loads it in. But once you get to this point in the level, that becomes blocked off. Say though, so what if you can load that section in after, or not after, outside of that area? You can't do that. So after you hit the last cable, you can go down here, or I think actually not down here. You can head glitch, or not even a head glitch, but you can face your head in this area. And where's the area where you can do it at? I kind of forgot. Okay, it took a little while for me to find the trigger, or find the spot where you can hit that trigger. I don't know exactly where it is, but as you can see, I was forced out of I was forced into bounds because the part of that level loads. You load inside that part of the level, in the walls. If you were to try to say, I don't know, butterfly down there and load it through that way, you die. Even with invulnerability, going out of bounds in parts of the level like that, you die. The next strat I thought of is a strat that's actually used in Outskirts for the I Would Have Been Your Daddy skull to activate it. It is to put the skull in a BSP. Actually, I don't even know what BSPs are, I'm not gonna lie. I assume they're just like, you know, triggers that load other areas and whatnot. That's all what I understand about it. But you place the skull in an area where it would stay loaded and won't deload after you trigger the same BSP or something along the lines. You'll see what I mean. So the first area I thought of was to say, I don't know, you somehow pull off some bullshit. Oh, that's not area. You pull out some bullshit. You somehow put the skull in the glass over there. Once you get to this outside area, then you somehow get back, and then it will appear there, right? So let's place it there. It's there now, and let's go beat the level, or let's go to that area. Um, and I'll just speed this process along. Just so you know that I didn't use any checkpoints and whatnot to place it over there. And I'll, as well, with each loading section, I will show either that it's still there. Let's go ahead and kill everything. Alright, so we killed everything here. Next section should load. I guess he doesn't need to move, huh?
Warriors, return to the landing zone. The arbiter will continue.
Let's go ahead and show that it's still over there. Alright, skull's still there. Let's go up the lift. Now that we loaded this section, I'm gonna go ahead and go over there. And you may be wondering, oh, the collision's gone. Well, skull isn't there. It deloaded. So maybe it'll reload when you beat the cable section, correct? Well, let's do that. Alright, so I've just hit the cables. Let's go over there real quick. Nothing has loaded in. Alright, fine. Let's load everything. Oh, actually, we can't do that because now we're kind of stuck in here. But let's just teleport down. Forgot I have that cheat. Alright, so now everything's loaded.
The heretic leader is on the move.
Go check.
Do not let him escape.
As you can see where I placed it, it's no longer there. And I'll save you the time. Going past this point, it's not gonna be there. So another strat I thought of was to use the elevator to clip you out. And that does work. All you need to do is crouch when it hits your head, and you get pushed out. However, you die because you're going out of bounds. I've been working on a potential strat for this. I'll show it later in the video, but that's something good to know that maybe we can use. The next strat I want to talk about is using the new storage speed glitch to clip out. I haven't been following the research and development that much, so my knowledge in it is a little dodgy. But this is kind of the place where I think it would be done. If you take a look outside, the wall isn't really that thin, and it's even thinner here. I had also thought about doing it past this door. You see this door is open. However, let me go over there real quick and show you that if you somehow clip past into that door, the door over there actually closes. So if you clip past this point, door's gonna close on you. You won't be able to make it through. I won't go too in depth with it, but I'll just show the clip that the closest I've gotten to getting this to work, which was I clipped through here and I did go out of bounds. And there's also a clip of Mito clipping in or doing hanger skip with it, and that's kind of where I got the idea. Oh! 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 So the next strat I thought of, and this is probably another potential strat that may be used. It's really annoying, but you actually don't die immediately going out of the Banshee. there's still like a little like downtime of little bit of a downtime before you actually die. And I think it's like on a cycle as well. So say if you were to become weaponless and bring the skull in, over here in this position, you would see that I immediately pick it up. Since I am weaponless, I don't have to hold X or anything. It does place it in front of you, but there may be a way to take it outside past this point, and I'm not sure what the route would be because it automatically picks it up, and you need to take it in such a way where it doesn't get stuck in an area like this, and or you can like pick it up through the wall all the way to this area over here. Not sure if that's gonna work. You need to like bring it to the glass, and I don't think it's something that will be used, but it's something to note down. The next thing I want to show refers to like one of the first things I talked about was doing the skull smuggle at this point. I don't have the secondary weapon and the skull placed in a good way, but I will say I have done this. I just didn't record it, which is a bit of a shame. But it was just me constantly pressing left trigger and X, and I did get it. I did get the skull smuggle, but it is really annoying to try to even attempt this. You'd probably place it in such a way where you can get your swap weapon prompt. It's hard to say. You probably will have to pause before it, if this becomes like the actual strat. But as of right now, it's not impossible. It's just improbable to do, especially since before this point, the checkpoint you get is out here, and you have a full Banshee, so you have to destroy yourself to even get over here. So you have to do that, and then everything here will be in a different position. Do I have the wrong thing here? I do. Everything here will be in the wrong position. You have to set it up using the Banshee bomb of all things, and it's just it doesn't seem that fun to do. But it may be the strat to do a real run of this, because it's the only strat that I've successfully done, at least using HCM with no invulnerability and, you know, other cheats. Just using HCM as a checkpoint, essentially. Next idea I had, and this is a recent idea, I actually was trying it literally today, was to try to do hanger skip like you do in Arbiter. I had one attempt where I clipped, like I crouched to clip, and then I did the sword fly. It was more of like a sword cancel, and I think I went over here under here, not through the wall, but it was like it was in the out of bounds area. I was trying some other box methods to like clip you down even further, and like I tried over there and here. As you can see, my flood is also frozen, so even trying to attempt this with regular enemies is, I don't even want to think about it, but like you do something like this, right? Let me try to get somewhat of an attempt of it. I don't know, something like that. It's weird. You have to like crouch immediately when it goes down, and then do sword cancel, hold jump, and then go backward. It's really weird. Of course, it's not probably the way you do this. You probably put more boxes or something, change the positions. I have no idea. And then getting the flood out here or something to sword fly or cancel off of is just weird. And then your reticle becomes like it flashes because you're clipping in the ground. Doesn't even work. If you were to somehow like go out of here and then, oh, you want to sword fly off of him, you can't sword fly out of bounds because it doesn't actually allow you to get the lunge. There's so many random shit with it. But it's an idea to play around with if anyone wants to mess with that. Another thing I want to show is something I actually found on accident. I don't know if anyone knows about this, but I noticed that when I clipped outside to test some things, say doing things after the cutscene, because is the skull's still loaded over there. There was a Banshee over here, and I thought it was my Banshee like my Banshee that I drove in with. It's actually not. It's actually one of the Banshees that the other heretics are driving. And in order to get into this position, you have to have like one of the Banshees like get lured over here. And I think I probably lured in such a way where it was like in the middle of the platform there. And let me just like find a Banshee, kind of give a good idea of where it is. So it's like, yeah, he's right there, and you're gonna see everything gets frozen in place. So let me teleport out here and look to the left. That's his Banshee, and it will go all the way down there. In fact, say if it like were to land over down there, and you clip out here, get this to get the skull, you don't die of like full time or anything, and it's there, it's still going, but I think it gets destroyed. I'm pretty sure that was an explosion, and now it's undrivable. Yeah, it's broken. Potential idea, maybe. Hold on, is this one drivable? Oh wow, this one's drivable. I guess even if it does survive. Yeah, what the fuck? Why did it like launched me up? That's crazy. You can get the skull, which I will show. You won't die if you get out of the Banshee too. I don't know. I don't remember where I placed the bench or the skull in this one, but it will stay loaded. You could probably do some other bullshit where you like you hijack a Banshee. You can't hijack. I've done it before. You can't hijack a Banshee in the Banshee part and not die. You won't die if you like hijacking you're outside. I don't know why that doesn't work the way it does, and then you can place it somewhere. Use some RNG manip to do that. I have no idea, but it's another idea to explore. Some last things to note before I get on to like the Strat post whatever clip bullshit you use that may work. I thought I was like, okay, maybe I'm using season 7 of the game. Maybe season 8 will work, but as a whole kind of worms I don't want to like open. Not using the invincibility glitch where you go up through the hangar. That may be something that works somehow. As well as maybe getting rid of the trigger that kills you. Or not activating it somehow. When you're in the Banshee section, as well as if you're familiar with Gravemind, how that skull works. It works as like a weapon that you can hold, and maybe you can force the skull here to be like that, and then you can bring it in there. Those are some ideas that I just wanted to throw out there. I don't think they'll hold any water to them, but they're ideas. Let me show you how the outside section would look like if you were to clip out. So to start out, everything is very high up. So you want to have a high enough gravity from this point to make those jumps after you clip out. So in order to do that, instead of doing 12 seconds after the last cable jumping in there, you do 11 seconds or even more. Though when you go like almost immediately, your gravity is really low. I guess yeah, it would be really low to the point where you can jump from like the bottom all the way up there, and like it becomes impractical. So optimal amount is 11 seconds. So let me 17 at 8. So surely this would be good enough gravity to make those jumps. So you do move slowly down, but for the sake of like the clip or getting for the sake of post clipping whatever you do to get out of here. So say you clip out of here, right? And now you're outside in this area. What I've found is, I don't know if it's dependent on the dialogue or anything, but I believe, oh yeah, you get a checkpoint there. maybe going in here, then going out gives you a checkpoint. I don't remember. I got like really random checkpoints past this point, but say if you got like really crazy gravity and someone clipped out, you can actually so you jump up, hit that, and then you can just literally float over there. It's pretty crazy, but I think the more practical one is to do 11 seconds. So you jump up either I think here or here. I don't think it really matters. Throw a grenade. That didn't really boost me, but I think I can make this. Oh yeah, there we go. And you can like, I would do the grenade jump would actually put me at this point, and it looks like the same method actually works there. I can just like crouch and jump up here. Oh, looks like it didn't work there. I was able to. And then I kind of just like crouched and spammed crouch and jump, and it should like be able to get you up here. And then you get over here. And then you can drop down. I don't know how early you can drop off of. It depends. It probably depends on your gravity. And then you can get the trigger that way. Let's say though that the clip doesn't actually take you in this area, but instead you go like directly on the bottom. And that's not really a problem as long as you have high gravity. Let me just make it down there real quick. I got a natural checkpoint there. Interesting. So you would want to like make your way up to this pillar here, which you just jump up to. You would jump onto this part of the... Okay, I just need to make sure that... Yeah, okay, good. That I'm going in the right direction. It's kind of hard to tell. You'd go in this direction, jump on this pillar, walk up it. Believe, yeah, you can't make that over there, but you would want to go over here instead. Believe, yeah, you jump up here. Jump over here. Jump up here. And then I'm gonna put a checkpoint here because this is a little hard. You do a grenade jump. Preferably that thing sticks you. You should get enough height to just make it over here. Depending on your gravity, it might be a little off. But yeah, that's the idea if you clip out. For both like variations of where you might be outside the clip. So that's all I got right now. The real last thing that I want to talk about is that you notice that I did have a fuel rod. And as per the rules, I didn't really explain the rules too much of what Skull Protector implies, like fully. And it implies you holding, well, the rules state there's only like one rule, and it's to take a skull to the very end of the level, having it show during the white flash of the end of the level. And that does cause a little bit of issues for carryover levels, and one of them being is Arbiter. If you were to try to take a fuel rod and a sword, I believe it only takes the sword through and not the fuel rod. So in order to take the Fjord, you have to become you have to have one weapon, and that one weapon has to be the Fjord. So I'll kind of show you more or less how you would want to do that. You first want to have a PP. And the closest PP you can get, I think that would be the most optimal, is this one right here. There's actually another one coming up ahead that may be better. Depends. Me overcharge this guy, whatever. So that one right there, probably preference. It doesn't really matter.
I will defend the Oracle.
I suck at glass clip.
The heretics are mobilizing their air forces. Get after their leader, but watch your back.
And the fuel rod, I believe the best spot would actually be to kill this grunt here instead of getting the one later on. Assuming that the fuel rod to actually drop. Right? So you drop the sword. So you can get a sword on Oracle immediately from Half Jaw. And you go down. And make sure to have to swap out the needler and not actually take it with you. Otherwise, this wouldn't work because you need the PP to become one weapon. I was gonna say, like, oh yeah, where's this thing at? It's telling me to go to the Phantom.
Track the heretic leaders to this part of the station. Clear that landing zone and get inside.
And now that I have it with me, you just do the glitch over here. And you should be able to take it. So that's how every level's gonna end, with the skull in your hands. And the white flash. And then I should have a plasma rifle and a fuel rod. And then you can just kill him, get that, and then do your best business as usual, right? Up until the skull. But yeah, that's the idea. Trying to think right now what I want to say for the end of this. So those are all my ideas for getting the Famine Skull all the way to the end of the level. There may be some other things that I'm missing, but I think overall, I think I've touched on everything of all the strats and ideas and knowledge that will help make this category possible, to make this level possible, to make this category possible. You know what I mean. So hopefully someone can figure it out. If I don't figure it out, and if you do, you win $1 million trillion quadrillion dollars.